Trump is losing control, and it's his own party that might take him down. A Republican congressman from Nebraska, Don Bacon, is now openly threatening impeachment if Trump dares invade Greenland. And Bacon claims massive support from his own party. This isn't just some isolated incident. This is a warning shot from within the ranks. This is not a small issue. Trump's own allies, the very people who helped elevate him to power, are now drawing the line. But that's just the start. Polling numbers are showing a bleak reality. Trump's approval is plummeting, and the cracks in his support are growing wider. This is the beginning of something much bigger. What happens next could unravel everything Trump has built. Stay with me, because this is just the start of a much larger crisis. We've all seen this before. One scandal after another, one crisis following the last. But what's happening right now isn't just another headline. It's the beginning of a pattern that could change everything. Trump's own party is openly threatening him with impeachment. And this isn't just about Greenland. No, it's about something much deeper. It's about the cracks in his power that are starting to widen and the Republican Party that's starting to fracture from within. But here's the part no one is saying out loud. Why now? Why is this happening at this moment? It's because Trump's support is crumbling across the board. Republicans, once his strongest allies, are turning on him. It's a stark warning. His grip on the party is slipping, and the polling numbers back it up. The latest figures show that almost half of Americans now think Trump is too old to serve as president, and that's just the beginning. The numbers are clear. America is losing confidence. The question is, what does this mean for Trump's future and for the future of the country? This could be the beginning of the end. Here's where it gets even more serious. The numbers are damning. According to the latest poll, 49% of Americans now believe Trump is too old to serve as president. That's almost half the country, and it's a growing problem for him. This isn't just about one poll. It's part of a larger pattern. Across multiple surveys, Trump's favorability is sinking. Only 34% of Americans believe he's making the country better. That number, it's stagnant. It's not moving. But the rest of the country, independent voters, Democrats, they're fed up. They're rejecting him, and that's a trend that can't be ignored. Now, notice what's missing here. Trump's own base is shrinking. His cult-like following, 34%, remains loyal, but the rest of the country, they're turning away fast. Poll after poll shows that people are rejecting Trump's leadership, and the cracks are showing. This could be the start of a major shift, one that not only threatens his presidency, but could leave him politically isolated. The question is, what does Trump do now? The situation is getting more intense by the day. Just look at how Trump is handling it with denial and deflection. Instead of addressing the real issues, he's doubling down on military intervention, on foreign policy, and on distractions. And here's where things get worrying. The normalization of extreme actions, like potential military interventions in places like Iran, Venezuela, and even Greenland, is starting to feel normal. This should be alarming to anyone paying attention. Now, watch how fast this escalates. Trump's calls for military action in Iran, his defense of authoritarian regimes like Venezuela's Maduro, and his push to control territories like Greenland, it's all part of the same playbook. What's happening now is a pattern, a dangerous one. His behavior is becoming increasingly erratic, and those around him are either too afraid or too complicit to challenge it. It's a terrifying reality. What once seemed like extreme rhetoric is now the status quo. And if things keep going in this direction, it won't just be Greenland on the table. It could be entire regions of the world, potentially dragging America into conflicts it can't control. What happens if this keeps escalating? Here's where it gets even more disturbing. Trump's actions are starting to clash with his words in ways that are hard to ignore. He's been touting the success of his foreign policies, but the reality tells a different story. Take his stance on Venezuela. He's been backing the opposition, claiming victory, yet the reality on the ground is grim. The same goes for Iran, where he promised swift action, only to backtrack when pressure from allies like Qatar and Saudi Arabia mounted. This is where the story flips. Trump is contradicting himself at every turn. He talks tough, promises results, but the reality is a chaotic mix of broken promises and failed strategies. His claims of military success, they're hollow. His so-called triumphs, unraveling fast. And now he's doubling down on his decisions that no one seems to agree with. Meanwhile, the public, both here and abroad, grows increasingly skeptical of his leadership. The more he talks, the less people trust what he's doing. And this is not just bad leadership, it's a crisis of credibility, and it's only getting worse. The pressure is mounting, and it's not just from the polls. Multiple crises are stacking up fast. Trump is dealing with disastrous approval ratings, a Congress that's growing increasingly hostile, and a foreign policy that's spiraling out of control. But that's not all. We're seeing his political base crack, with key Republican figures questioning his leadership. And don't forget about the growing scandals. We're talking about everything from shady financial dealings to bizarre behavior like throwing lavish parties while the country suffers. It's clear Trump's presidency is unraveling at the seams. What happens if this continues? If this level of chaos persists, Trump won't just be facing impeachment threats. He could be facing an unprecedented collapse of his political power. The public is losing faith. The opposition is gaining ground. And even his own party is starting to turn on him. It's a perfect storm, and there's no sign of it slowing down. This isn't just about Trump's ego or his party anymore. It's about how this chaos is actually affecting real people like you and me. When Trump deflects responsibility for the mess he's created, it's the everyday Americans who are left to pick up the pieces. The healthcare system is crumbling, unemployment is creeping up, and people are struggling just to survive while Trump throws extravagant parties at Mar-a-Lago. Meanwhile, his policies are leaving people in dire financial situations, unable to afford homes or health care. If this feels familiar, say so in the comments. It's not just an abstract issue anymore. This is the reality for millions of Americans, and for many of them, it feels like they've been forgotten by the very people who are supposed to be leading the country. The gap between Trump's world and the world of average citizens is growing wider by the day. And the longer this continues, the harder it's going to be for many to keep their heads above water. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What's really happening here? Why does this all keep spiraling out of control? The answer lies in the system itself. It's not just Trump causing all of this. He's a product of a larger system of leverage, spectacle, and fear. At the heart of it all is the way power is concentrated and controlled. Trump thrives on spectacle, on the chaos, the noise, and the headlines. His behavior feeds the media cycle, keeping him in the spotlight while the real issues are buried. And when things go wrong, he distracts, diverts, and blames. This isn't just bad leadership. It's a system that incentivizes chaos because in the chaos, Trump thrives. This is the mechanism that allows him to keep going. It's the way the system rewards the loudest, most outrageous actions. The more outrageous the statement, the more attention it gets, and the more power it consolidates. It's not about governing anymore. It's about spectacle. And that's a dangerous game to play when so many lives are at stake. The road ahead for Trump is far from clear. On one hand, he could double down on his rhetoric, pushing further into the chaos that has become his brand. He could escalate his confrontations with both his party and the world, forcing the issue until something breaks wide open. But here's the catch. That path leads to a volatile future, one where his political survival is always hanging by a thread, dependent on his ability to keep the spectacle alive. But here's the other possibility. The cracks could become so large, so undeniable, that the pressure from within his own party forces him to retreat, or worse, to face impeachment. If Republicans, once his most loyal allies, turn on him in a more significant way, it could spark a collapse of his influence, leaving him isolated and politically deadlocked. What happens next? It's too soon to tell. The next move, whatever it is, will set the course for everything that follows. Here's the thing. Trump's political future is hanging by a thread. The cracks are spreading, the stakes are rising, and it's no longer just a matter of him versus his opponents. It's about the very foundation of American leadership and governance. The truth is, we might be witnessing the unraveling of a presidency, a spectacle so extreme it can't keep up the illusion much longer. But here's the real takeaway. This isn't just about Trump. It's about a system that rewards chaos, that amplifies the loudest voices while leaving the real issues behind. If this chaos continues, the real damage will be done to the very institutions that are supposed to safeguard our future. This isn't the end, it's just the beginning. For more analysis and to see where this story goes next, make sure to follow and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next.